Well, you could probably hear the tractor in the background. Now he's driving away.
Yep.
This is the Jon Tara Marital Arts podcast.
We got away for the weekend.
Oh,
Woo!
man. We are at the Round Barn Farm in Red Wing, Minnesota. It's a bed and breakfast, and it's a event hotspot in Minnesota. They do lots of weddings here.
Beautiful, amazing location. As you might imagine, they have a round barn, which has an interesting history, which I don't think we'll be able to recite. But
no.
it's a modern home built to look like an old farm home. And so each of the suites has a jacuzzi tub and plenty of space, just really, really beautiful.
Wait till they see the jacuzzi.
And yeah, so this is our local getaway. It's a couple hours from home, so it's far enough away to feel like you're away, but close enough that you don't have to take an extra day due to travel.
Yeah. You can probably hear the highway in the background a little bit.
It's well known for bikers.
There's a lot of Harleys out this weekend.
Yep. Beautiful. It's last weekend in April, first weekend in May, and so it's just beautiful. It was in the 60s yesterday. It's into the 80s today. We just went out for our first major mountain biking ride, and
of the season,
and this is River Valley. So you get awesome hiking and biking trails in this area. And Red Wing is the home of Red Wing Shoes.
Red Wing Shoes, Red Wing
Pottery.
Red Wing Pottery.
Yep. So wherever you are in the country, you may be familiar with those things.
Okay, let's stop doing commercials.
All right. Well, yeah.
Actually, I'm going to do a commercial. RoundBarnFarm.com. And we're not sponsored by the Round Barn Farm. However, as I always say, this podcast is sponsored by the Round Barn Farm.
There's the possibility.
Yeah, you never know. We hope. Maybe we'll get a free stay because we share about their farm, their bed and breakfast.
Can definitely highly, highly recommend the
place.
We've
been here many, many times. And it's a great getaway. You're out of the city. You could turn off your electronics and you feel like you're out in nature. There's a big half mountain behind us. It's a giant hill.
Yeah.
Big ridge line down in Red Wing where the rivers used to flow. There's valleys and big ridges and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of sandstone cliffs and
the green is really popping this time of the year. The hostas are several inches tall by now, and it's just fun to see the greenery coming out.
So how'd you do on the bike ride?
I felt great.
Sounds like, is that a train coming?
Maybe.
It's a weird noise.
We're right by
there's a train track
so let's see. I felt really good. Like I mentioned to you, each year I feel like I start out stronger in the sense, like my capability levels, like, because anytime you restart something, it's been several months since I've ridden, and so corners are still a little like shaky, and fortunately I've been doing some conditioning, so the actual cardio part of it wasn't too bad. So corners still felt like, okay, I have to practice leaning or into it and kind of be one with my suspension again. But overall,
it's very zen of you.
Yes. Overall, I just can compare it to where I was a couple of years ago, and I feel better starting out this year than like I was at my strongest point a couple of years ago. So that's really just so satisfying. So we went down we were going on mostly intermediate, some diamond, some double diamond, just a few, which really depends on the area you're in. Of course, like when we were in Colorado, diamond and double diamond were actually really challenging.
Yeah, really real double diamonds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here, not as much. There is a track in Eagan, Minnesota, south of the cities, that their diamond.
Lebanon.
Yeah, Lebanon is definitely more challenging. So, of course, depends on where you're at.
Yeah.
But
We could go to Lebanon on our way home tomorrow.
we could. John, how did you feel on the trail?
I felt really good until we got to the long uphill. It was a long, rocky uphill.
Until you felt last night's dinner, is that what you're saying?
No, I stopped a couple times. Obviously, you were behind me. And I thought I needed to wait. We both stopped at the same time, and then, when we stopped, I was like, okay, I'll just keep going. And then I went, and then I stopped again, and I let you pass me, and then I was like, shit, I shouldn't have stopped.
Yeah, sometimes stopping is worse. I just had to find my right gear.
Yeah.
It was such a steep incline, and it was on rocks.
And they were rolly rocks.
Yep.
They're big gravelly rolly rocks. There was good softball size rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I found the right gear, and I was able to go up. And
No, I'm glad you made it all the way up. I hit a wall. I kind of felt like, I remembered that I didn't really work out all winter.
That's when you remembered?
Yeah. I was like, I haven't done much. I blame it on COVID.
Yeah?
Yeah. I had the COVID workout plan. Just stay home, and it's a hot rod out on the highway.
Yeah.
The COVID workout plan is just
Don't stress your body.
watch movies.
Yeah. It's sofa sit-ups.
My COVID workout plan was adding a lot of machines to my company last year and working a lot all year.
Yep.
So
I was at the computer a lot.
Yeah. I worked a lot of late nights. I got up in the middle of the night a lot and loaded machines and did all that kind of stuff. So.
And now, thankfully, we're able to be here for a weekend.
Yeah.
Which is, feels satisfying.
So yeah, I don't know. Working out. I like to do things to work out. I love doing martial arts. I love mountain biking. If we lived somewhere where there was lots of cliffs and stuff, I could rock climb. I would like that type of thing. I would... I don't like running, although I probably do a little bit of running. I don't like to jump rope, although I do some of that.
It's amazing what jostling your body does.
You have to. Yeah.
It's like a different kind of workout.
Well, you can feel it when we're riding today. I can feel that I haven't done enough. Jumping rope or jumping jacks, that type of stuff, that type of aerobic, calisthenics kind of things. Because you get on the trail and you're you're jiggling and you're jostling and you're bouncing and you're getting that good feeling of activity. I like my workout to be skill building, like martial arts and mountain biking, or if I was still riding motocross and stuff like that.
What do you see as good complementary training to mountain biking? So I know for
all
me...
the things I don't like to do.
All the things I don't like to do. I know for me it helps to do push-ups.
Yep.
And like quick and kind of different paced push-ups.
Yeah.
Connecting my upper and lower body. And then, just because as a woman I'm not as naturally strong in the upper body. And having that connection, I can really tell the difference when my body's more connected and it's not just, leg and glute strength.
Yeah. We should do different angled push-ups too.
Different angles?
Yeah,
like arms
say
at different positions?
like our jump box, our plyo box.
So different inclines.
You put your feet on that. Yeah, different inclines. Put your feet up on that and then do some push-ups, that type of thing. Even it could be as high as a shoebox, and that's very different. And you could give yourself different angles by doing like down dog type kind of stuff, and you don't need a box. But I was out by the retaining wall and the ramp the other day, and I was just doing skip steps, up and down, you know, 1 foot up, 1 foot down, and then switch them together.
Do you actually step up to the retaining wall?
Yeah, you step up, 1 foot's up, 1 foot's down, and you switch them at the same time. Boom, 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 like that. So it's one motion,
you're jumping,
switching. Yeah.
Jump, switching.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's really intense.
Mm-hmm.
Doing 1 foot at a time, just step up, step down, step up, step down, step up. Or you step up, both feet up, now you're a foot higher or however high your box is. Then you step down with both feet. Then you step up with both feet, the opposite foot first, and then you step down with both feet.
You know, I probably can't name like a specific time where I would say definitively Kali has helped, but I would venture to guess that Kali and stick work is, you know, in doing complicated patterns and just responsive pattern, not even patterns, help in awareness on the trail.
Your Kali, your Hubud, your Chisao, it's in everything you do now. It's that sensitivity training from Hubud and Chisao to the stick work, your stick work sensitivity training, your knife work, and your knife work sensitivity training. It's in everything you do. You can feel it. Your little reactions your bike is making, you make those fine adjustments because you've been doing these arm pressure exercises, anything from grappling to stick work, you know. Even long range, you know, if you're swinging a stick long range, you got a target that you're aiming for. You have timing, rhythm, fighting measure, cadence, you know, everything, speed, not so much strength, but there is strength involved.
Or even like if there's a branch hanging down or a twig is more challenging because you see it right before it's there.
Right.
But you're used to having a stick coming at your face.
Well, your peripheral vision is more acute, sharper.
And you're accustomed to like moving your head without moving your whole body.
Yeah.
You know, which would be detrimental on a bike, you know, if you think you have to duck with your whole body rather than bobbing and weaving just with your head.
Yeah, and we got to look at it. I mean, you know, professional mountain bikers, most of them aren't doing Kali. They're not doing martial arts. They're not doing, you know, and they're obviously doing really well on a bike.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it's just part of my training has always been martial arts. Even when I was in bodybuilding, in lifting competitions. I didn't do bodybuilding competitions. But I did some lifting competitions and more stamina kind of stuff back in the day. And, you know, I had to do something with it. You know, I was lifting a lot and I had to do something. So I competed a little bit, and then I was in martial arts too. And I didn't like how much lifting I had to do to try and compete against people that were lifting, because I needed to keep that speed and motion and that dynamic muscle, you know, how the muscle, you know, you get your dynamic muscular coordination.
Yeah.
And, you know, that is crucial if you're doing movement training, if you're fighting, or if you're trying to be dynamic in anything you do.
Train dynamically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then it applies to mountain biking because, of course, you know, I came from motocross and snowmobile racing and that kind of stuff. So I grew up on motorsports, so it'd be hard for me to say what made major differences. I know that my Thai boxing made cardiovascular and stamina improvements to my racing massively. Mm-hmm. I know that. I know that my toughness from racing transitioned into martial arts. Because when I first found the Minnesota Kali group, the way that they trained was, when I walked in there, I was really intrigued by it. I had been in martial arts officially for 3.5 years in gyms or dojos. Mm-hmm. And I had trained on my own out of magazines and stuff, because my parents wouldn't let me go when I was younger to any dojo or anything like that, dojang.
Because they were concerned they might be teaching a religion.
Yeah, they did. Every time you walked into a place, they were they would greet you with some sort of, salutation that sounded like, strange language to my parents.
Yes.
And they were like, I don't know. And then there's a little statue of Buddha in the corner or something, and that didn't go over big for
Traditional
Midwestern Lutherans.
Yeah.
No,
I could see that.
So, but man, when I first got to the collie group, I saw these guys just busting each other in the face, and I saw blood, and I saw, the spit bucket in the corner, and man, I was just like, I'm home. I thought when I first came in, I thought they were fighting, and I was like, man, I want to do this. Mm-hmm. This is what I've been looking for. I was 19, and just a regular old Midwestern 19-year-old, getting little brawls here and there, and being tough and wanting to train and ready to go every day, all day, and that was it.
I think it was different. So we met at your gym. Yep. When you had a school, and I was really intrigued to learn, but I wasn't naturally gifted, Thanks. That's a confirmation.
It's an understatement.
But you weren't
even coordinated.
No, but you really had, and I don't think it's because you liked me, or maybe even just not even that you looked at me as a customer, but you really had patience.
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely obviously had interest in me a little while later and incentivized to have patience with me. But
I'll put it out there if any young ladies ever listen to this, because what we're talking about right now is our sixth. Is this our sixth marital art? Is staying active.
Oh.
Yes. Last podcast we talked a little bit about coping.
Mm-hmm.
The one before, the fourth one is make love, and we didn't talk about that yet, because that's going to be a couple of them. That's going to be a couple big ones. But this one is staying active. Yeah, this is our sixth marital art, so we're getting there.
Mm-hmm. There's
at least 10.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more. But no, I was not looking for a girlfriend teaching martial arts. That was not my goal. In fact, my instructor said you had to be very careful. You can't date. And then I told the instructors that I had in my school that I was training to be instructors that if they dated the single guys, I said, if you date anybody, you have to marry them, because if you're going to be a serious martial artist, you can't have a reputation of sleeping around and being with multiple girls. And I told them, I said, there's going to be lots of women that come in here looking to get with you. And there always was. The guy standing in the front of the room teaching people how to hurt other people is really attractive to women. And women nowadays might think that's kind of weird, but instinctively a woman is attracted to somebody who can take care of them, someone who will protect them, somebody who is an alpha male over other males. Not just, there's no such thing as an alpha male over a woman. It's over other males. And that's what the instructor is. Automatically, the other men are bowing to him, and they're giving respect, and it's a natural attractant. Mm-hmm. And I warned them, and a couple of them didn't listen. They never became instructors. They instructed in my school, but when I closed my school down, they didn't go on with it, because you can't have bad morals and be a leader or anything like that. I know it doesn't look that way with our current politicians, but
yeah. Well, I brought that up because you were talking about how this gym appealed to you, and the guys looked like they were essentially fighting, but you obviously weren't in it. Well, maybe at least eventually we're not in it to just fight.
Right.
And so
they were doing more to each other when I walked in. They were doing more to each other in the gym than you have to do on the street to win a fight. And it was a pleasure. I mean, It was a pleasure. I would get 3-4 bloody noses every night. that I would go train. I'd train for 4 or 5 hours a day. Every day I'd go to every class. I'd drive from Hutchinson. I'd drive an hour to get to class in the cities. I'd start class at 4:30, 4:35ish, and I wouldn't leave till 9 at least. And then after that, usually I'd get something to eat before I went out. So a lot of times I'd bring my own food, but every now and then I'd go out with Rick and George or the other guys and have a couple beers, and then I'd drive an hour home. And usually when I got home, it'd take me 15 minutes to get out of the car, easy. And because my body got so stiff driving home, and I learned to stop a couple times on the way home and get out and stretch and move. But it was such a hard workout. And I mean, I'd leave the gym with loose teeth. We didn't wear mouth guards back then. We did in competition. If there was a stick fighting competition or something, we'd wear mouth guards. But in training, we didn't wear mouth guards. And so it was such a pleasure. It was such a privilege to find the collie group in that state. I mean, you can't find that kind of stuff now. And Rick Fay and Greg Nelson were always pounding the hell out of each other, and Dave Leach was there, who was the director of the John Wick series, the movies, and he was a training partner of mine, and was a training partner of Rick's and Greg's, and then he went out to California and was a stuntman for a lot of years, and then now he's a director. And so, you see the John Wick series, and you know where Dave Leach came from, and you're like, oh, no wonder. Everything's just, it was just, we loved each other, and we didn't want to hurt each other, but it was violence. It was just like, how hard can we go and not hurt each other? How hard can we go? And a bloody nose and a loose tooth is not hurting somebody. You poke somebody's eye out, or you break their elbow, or even their finger. That's hurting somebody. Now they're wounded and they can't train, or breaking somebody's leg or their foot, or whatever it is, But hitting somebody, kneeing somebody. I was dropped many times getting kneed in the gut. I don't think I was dropped getting kicked, but I limped for days after trainings, and I went back to train the next day, and I was still limping. I'd limp in and I'd limp out, and it was heavy duty training, and so good, so good. It's what you need. It's what boys need. It's what guys need. Excuse me.
So it would be interesting to hear from, an outside perspective, observing someone, I wouldn't say that I'm like you in that sense. I'm not naturally violent, but I really am intrigued by the training. And I've personally had the conflict between, am I training to be violent, but I'm not out to hurt people, So,
you know what I consider violence? I consider violence. So I said extreme violence, but it was extreme. There's no way to say we train so hard. You just can't say that, because people don't understand what that means, right? People think, oh, you're sweating and you're going until your legs don't work or whatever, right? And no, it was not violence in the sense that we were trying to hurt each other. I think violence is somebody doing something to purposely try and hurt someone that has less capabilities, less skill, right? If I was to beat you up, that would be violence, because you don't have a chance of, you have a chance of defending yourself, but you don't have a chance, because all it takes is one good shot and you're in a lot of trouble. If you were to sucker punch me and hit me very well, I could be in trouble. If you elbowed me, or if you busted your hand on my chin,
in just the right place.
Right.
Yeah.
I could be in trouble. But yeah. So that would be violence. If you just attacked me, or if I just attacked you, training, yeah, it's not the right word. Violence is not the right word, but that's the only way I can describe it, given the way the training is done now. Given the way that people train now and they think that they're going. I mean, we weren't, we could come back and train the next day. You could train with a loose tooth. Mm-hmm. Your bloody nose stops bleeding. We weren't breaking noses. They were just bloody noses.
When your intention wasn't to hurt the other person, but
no.
you're training, you're making yourself.
It was realistic in the sense that it was as far as we could go without incapacitating each other. Because there were times when, we're in Minneapolis, there were times when people left the gym, they walked out the door, and they were in a fight. There was gangs, there was people that would challenge martial artists. They'd wait outside, and you can't be wounded, you can't have a broken arm, because now you're having a real hard time fighting. The guys from the collie group can fight with one arm pretty good, but but we never wanted to send somebody home incapacitated.
I find it really interesting how there truly are life analogies and examples in martial arts and mountain biking.
Yeah.
Like it does seem, okay, I do yoga as well and have studied yoga, and there are life lessons in that, but it seems it's at a yoga pace. It's different
right.
than when you are training, sparring, going, challenge yourself on a mountain bike track. They're more blatant life lessons. Like I said today, going up that hill with all the rocks and stuff, and then there's roots sticking out, and for a while I was like, oh, I'm gonna just meander around this rather than hopping over rocks. And it was actually tougher to take the so-called easier route. It was easier to hop over a rock a little bit on the uphill rather than take what is like an easier route. And that's really true in life too. Sometimes you just need to go, I'm just going to keep going straight
as hard as I can.
And then even on the trail, even whether you're going uphill, downhill, oftentimes faster is a bit better. Not too fast. You don't, too fast can get you in trouble. But slowing down, like on a downhill, the bike analogies are just...
Well, the faster you go, the less mistakes you can make. And the faster you go, the more skill you need to have. And the more skill you gain, the faster you can go. And in yoga, nothing really sneaks up on you unless you're doing a Kundalini yoga and you're working for spiritual enlightenment, and one day all of a sudden you have a spiritual experience and your Kundalini rises and your higher self starts talking to you and surprises the shit out of you. Then that's something, but that takes a long time usually.
And it's kind of like hiking.
What's like hiking?
The more of the yoga practice. It's a slower process.
Nothing sneaks out on you unless there's a mountain lion in the woods.
And so you'll have to go up a long hill, and you might have a series of challenging poses that you have to breathe through and work through. But it's a different kind of challenge than like, oh crap, you come around the corner and it's like, oh, I didn't know there's going to be a root there. What am I going to do?
Well, in yoga, nobody comes up behind you and says, get out of my way. And you're not passing anybody. So I think yoga has some good analogies. I think yoga teaches some really great life lessons. Like if you stay on the path long enough, you're going to achieve your goals, right? Mm-hmm. But like you're saying, mountain biking and martial arts, they're more, yoga says be present, but man, you've got to be present. And if you're doing martial arts competition, absolutely. Or if you're doing training, hardcore training, or if you're mountain biking, man, we didn't know the trail we were on today, and how many things came up that shocked us.
Nothing was shocking, but there's still a little surprises.
Oh, that hill was shocking.
Well, the hill was...
That hill was like, oh, you're kidding me. We didn't go down that far, did we? Because you always know when you're mountain biking, as you go down, you're like, wow, this is fun, this is neat, this is easy.
You're like, I gotta go
up. But you remember you have to go back up. And that's usually a pedaling nightmare.
Yeah.
Which is good for you. But and then you realize, like I did today, I would do it again. I mean, if we went back there tomorrow, I'd be fine doing it again, but I wasn't prepared for it because I didn't, that was our first mountain biking trip of the year.
Yeah.
We're not ready for mountain biking. A couple more times we'll be starting to get ready and we'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be better. But yeah, I missed my old electric bike.
Really? Oh,
with
yeah.
The more powerful motor.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. These e-bikes we got now have a 1.1.
I forgot.
And that one had a 1.7 or something, or a 2.1 or something. It was, or even a 3, I think. I don't know. They were big.
Yep.
They were a lot heavier, but man, did they have power. They were fun. They're like a little motorcycle in the woods.
Yeah, mine has plenty of power for me. It was fine.
Yeah. Well, I'm not quite twice your weight, but pretty close.
Close, yeah.
So my motor is working twice as hard
Yep.
to get me going. But it's fun having that little extra boost. It's nice to be able to just pedal 2-3 times and you got some speed for a jump or a corner or something like that. That's really, really fun. It's kind of like having computers and smartphones in life, having electric bikes in the woods. It's a little bit of it's an advantage. You have that power right at your fingertips, to be able to get over the obstacles. And in both of our businesses, if we didn't have computers and smartphones, there's no way we could keep up with anything that we do. I mean, in my business, I'd need 3 more people minimum to cover the things that I do. Ouch.
Thank you. Yeah, and all my stuff would be in person and analog. We'd be doing
Make videos,
paper flyers, and
yep, be making videos. You'd be doing DVDs.
Mailers.
Remember the DVD machine I used to have?
Yeah.
To make DVDs.
Yep. Mailing newsletters and.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be very different, similar but different.
And I used to do that. Used to do that with my martial arts school, and everybody used to do that. You'd record to a videotape. You would put it into the computer. It would take just as long as the video is. So if it's an hour video, it would take an hour to get it into the computer. And then when you'd edit it, it would take another hour to get it out, and then it would probably take 3 hours to burn a DVD.
Yeah.
And I had this little robotic DVD maker. You'd put a stack of DVDs in the one side. It would take it out. It would load it in the writer. It'd go in. So you'd turn that thing on and you'd let it go for days and days and days. It'd just write DVD after DVD after DVD, and it had a printer in there too. So it'd drop it in. It would print on the DVD.
A label.
Yep, label it.
Yeah.
I sold that to Di. Yeah.
Diana.
Nice little robotic DVD copier or producer and printer. Fun stuff.
Yeah, you've always been into the latest technology.
Yeah. Well, it's the only way I've ever been able to do any of my businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Stay on top of it.
Yeah, you don't run an antique shop.
No. We use as much historical knowledge as we can, because there is a lot of historical knowledge in my trade. Not many things have changed, except the machines can do things automatically. We're using different materials to cut, and we are cutting some different materials, but there's always been steels and aluminum and stainless steel, ever since I've been around. Most everything is carbide tooling now.
I'm kind of feeling an winding down and unwinding, and it's taking effort to talk.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Yeah, it's a good sign when you're taking a weekend away.
Yeah. Okay. Well, staying active. That's all we did this morning. Stay active. Yep. The cowbells are ringing.
Yeah.
That means the podcast is over.
I guess so. Adios. Later.
Sayonara. Hasta la vista. Hasta luego.
Ciao.
Ciao.